Hello and thanks for joining us for France in Focus. I'm Olivia Salazar-Winspear. Coming up in the programme, grinding to a halt, employees of France's rail network down tools as train strikes hit commuters. Euthanasia, the moral quandaries back on the agenda. Now a French medic is in the dock for what some have called mercy killings. And Victor Hugo's Lucrezia Borgia graces the stage at the Comedy Française, with a familiar face making for a cross-dressing leading lady. We're here in Paris's Montparnasse station. It's the southern gateway to the city and the beginning and end of many commuters' journeys. These journeys have been made trickier though, as train strikes on suburban and mainline railways have seen some services reduced by up to 2/3. This industrial action's been compounded by taxi strikes, which have made it all the more difficult to get around. This next report tells us about the reform that's got French rail workers up in arms and on the picket lines.
After a long wait, the lucky few are running to catch the last train. The situation has been the same throughout France, affecting the French capital and major cities like Lyon and Marseille. To take some of the sting out of the strike, the SNCF has tried to keep up to speed on its communications. They've displayed the latest traffic information throughout its stations and made dozens of stewards available to help stranded passengers. But sometimes, like in Lyon, their efforts aren't enough.
The train I wanted to catch in the morning isn't there. There's no way to know, it's just not right.
At midnight, I downloaded their so-called hours. I arrived this morning. The first train cancelled, the second cancelled.
On average, 1 out of 2 high-speed TGV trains and 1 out of 3 regional trains were in service during the strike. And in the capital, trains servicing both major airports and tourist hotspots, like the Palace of Versailles, were also affected. The strike was called for by 4 rail unions. They disapprove of the government's proposed efforts to reform the sector.
We made a proposal to the government to take their time. We can take our time. But why is there a procedure in place to speed up the process at the National Assembly? Why go so quick? Why not take the time to rewrite the text and incorporate the grievances?
At the heart of the government's proposal, merging train company SNCF with rail infrastructure company RFF. Both companies will then be led by one single entity. The objective is to reduce skyrocketing debt levels set to reach 44 billion euros.
Without this reform, we will go straight into the wall and see an explosion of debt. Here we will be capable of stabilizing it in a few years.
Unions say the French government is using the sector's debt levels to push ahead their reforms. They oppose the proposed opening up of the French rail sector set to take place between 2019 and 2022. The parliament is set to vote on the sector's future next week, and the reforms are likely to take effect from January.
A French doctor is standing trial this week in the southwestern city of Pau. He's charged with the murder of 7 people by administering a lethal injection. The case has brought back the debate surrounding euthanasia.
Being a doctor was his life's calling. Now, a year after he was banned from practicing, Nicolas Bonnemaison braved a crowd on the first day of his trial at a criminal court in Pau. He is charged with poisoning 7 particularly vulnerable patients.
It's a challenge not to be able to work for 3 years. 3 years during which the legal process took over his life, and to now be sitting in court?
Between March 2010 and August 2011, 5 women and 2 men were found dead at the emergency room of a Bayonne hospital in the southwest of France. Bonnemaison is accused of helping them to die. Many of his colleagues and the families of several patients have said they supported the former doctor's decision to end their relatives' suffering.
I'm 200% behind him. I hope he's acquitted.
Fernand Dog was terminally ill when he was admitted in hospital. A former policeman, he died after 15 years spent battling cancer. His widow says Bonnemaison made the right decision.
He did it because he wanted to help us. It's not a crime to help people die with dignity. It's a crime not to do it.
None of the relatives have pressed charges, but 2 families will support the prosecution. They didn't file a suit, but say many questions remain.
They do feel like they weren't consulted about their mother's end of life, and they are not comfortable with it. They really want answers.
Nurses reported Bonne Maison to hospital bosses back in August 2011 regarding cases of active euthanasia.
It wasn't done properly. They would find out afterwards a product was missing from the medicine chest. They realized the doctor must have come at night to administer the lethal drug.
French law prevents physicians from helping with suicides. Doctors may give increasingly strong doses of painkillers, even if it risks shortening the patient's life. They must consult with colleagues and the patient's family.
A doctor or nurse alone, whoever it is, will eventually not be able to handle the situation.
Over 70 people are expected to testify at the trial, which is set to last until the end of June. If convicted, Bonne Maison could face up to life in prison.
It's been a turbulent week for right-wing politicians here in France. The father and daughter team behind the Front National have fallen out, with Jean-Marie Le Pen being reprimanded by his daughter, Marine. And the UMP party has brought in a caretaker leadership trio after Jean-François Copé had to step down.
Unity in France's main opposition party. Three former French Prime Ministers, Jean-Pierre Raffarin, Alain Juppé and François Fillon, will now head the UMP. Along with them, former party Vice President Luc Chatel has been appointed Secretary General.
Chatel's position has changed, but he remains part of the leadership team, which we were hoping for from the start. So we found a consensus to take our political family out of this difficult situation.
Former leader Jean-François Copé was pushed out the door over claims he was involved in the big Malian affair, a scandal in France which alleges the party overspent campaign finance limits during the unsuccessful presidential bid of Nicolas Sarkozy. For now, rivalries within the UMP have calmed between party stalwarts and loyalists of the former French president. However, they are likely to resurface when the party elects its new leader in autumn. The Balkanis, a French political couple, are in hot water. For the first time, Isabel Balkany admitted before the courts of being the owner of a luxury villa in the Caribbean, confirming investigator suspicions of tax fraud. Her lawyer claims it was an error in judgment due to an overseas inheritance. For the past 20 years, the couple have avoided paying French wealth taxes. Investigators are now also looking into if the couple own a villa in Marrakesh. They are trying to uncover where exactly the Balkanis get their money from. A public feud in the French National Front. This comes after the former party leader Jean-Marie Le Pen was caught on video insulting artists who are against the party.
And Mr. Bruel as well.
That doesn't surprise me. Listen, let's put them in the oven next time.
An anti-Semitic statement in direct conflict with the strategy of Jean-Marie's daughter, Marine Le Pen. A few weeks after the National Front swept to victory in the European parliamentary elections, the latest scandal has resurfaced the party's old demons. Marine Le Pen has officially condemned her father's comments, demonstrating all's not well in the Le Pen household.
We're here on the Place Colette in front of the Comedy Française. The capital's most prestigious theatre was originally built for Louis XIV, part of the Palais Royal complex. Now there's an equally famous name on the bill this week, Victor Hugo. His play, Lucrezia Borgia, showing at the moment. The saga centres on the formidable family of the Italian Renaissance. Guillaume Gallienne takes the leading role, bringing a certain masculine je ne sais quoi to the leading lady.
Award-winning actor Guillaume Gallienne is Lucrezia Borgia, the daughter of Pope Alexander VI and a ruthless poisoner. This time, though, the play introduces Lucrezia's son as born from her incestuous relationship with her brother.
Toute l'Italie me hait. Tu as raison. Il faut pourtant que tout cela change. Je n'étais pas né pour faire le mal. Je le sens à présent plus que jamais. C'est l'exemple de ma famille qui m'a entraîné.
She longs for the love of Gennaro, her hidden son. Played here by 36-year-old female actress Souliane Brahim.
J'ignore qui vous êtes. Et moi, je ne suis qu'un soldat.
Laissez-moi, Seigneur Gennaro.
J'ai été obsédé par une idée.
I was obsessed with the idea of giving this role not to a man, but to Guillaume. And not because of the film he made, I hadn't seen it when I offered him the part.
Quand je lui ai proposé le rôle, je n'avais pas vu qu'il n'était pas terminé.
Gallienne is indeed no stranger to playing women. In his 2013 film, Me, Myself and Mum, he played his own mother on screen. But Lucrezia's tragic destiny is no light comedy.
Le secret de ta naissance, mon enfant, je veux être la seule à le savoir.
Je regarde jamais I never see Souliane as a woman. I don't even think about it. I see nothing feminine in her. I just see my son's gracefulness, the fruit of incest.
Lucrezia herself administers the poison that kills her son.
Mon Gennaro, tu ne sauras jamais rien de mon pauvre misérable cœur, sinon qu'il est plein de toi.
Playwright Victor Hugo dissects a mother's tormented love for her son, and gender issues fade in the face of tragedy.
Well, that's all for this edition of France in Focus. Don't forget you can watch the show on our website, france24.com. See you next time.